Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome. This is Mark Boyle, Prepper Guy and creator of PrepperGal.life. In case you've been in a bunker and haven't been paying attention, seems to Prepper Gal Life seems to be coming along pretty good. Waiting on getting some writers because I don't think it would do me any good to write a bunch of articles. I mean, I'm putting some articles on there that are more like nutrition and stuff like that. But as far as other things that women would like on the podcast, probably don't want to hear it coming from a guy. I mean, they're all fucking married and sick of listening to their husbands. Let's face facts. So that's the progress report. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Really quick and easy peasy, Japanesey. Guess that's racist too. Which brings me to the point that today's weekly podcast, even though they haven't been weekly, they're kind of scattered all over the fucking place these days. In fact, I didn't even post Prepper Guy 135, which I said I was going to maybe do away with the numbering system. But old habits are hard to break. Um, ow, back itches, allergies. So anyway, I didn't post it because I was really pissed off that day, and I was talking to John Jeffers, um, founder and mastermind of Contra Radio Network. Does the Jeffers brief. Very informative guy, and he was trying to talk me off the ledge of just saying fuck it to all this stupid nonsense of podcasting and crap. And I've calmed down since then. So the 135 episode I was really pissed about everything, and it's kind of ranted and raved and made no sense. Like 90% of my podcasts most of the time. But this one was way out there, fucked up. So, John had asked me, he sent me a text, quick follow-up text, make sure I was still in the living realm of podcasters. And he's like, hey, haven't got your podcast on white supremacy. And I think he was joking because we both know we're not privileged in any way, shape, or form. We both worked our lives, all our lives. And, he's trying to, go on a vacation now that he's retired. And, it's not like he's going to get on the corporate fucking jet with his privilege and fly out to Arizona and visit people and then, rent a fucking Lamborghini or a Tesla. No, just a normal guy like you and I. And so I laughed, and then he said, well, we're kind of talking a little bit about racism in America and systemic racism and whatever words they're calling it these days. And I was thinking to myself, well, I really can't do a podcast on racism because I've never really seen it. I mean, sure, are there racist, bigoted fucking assholes running around out there saying and doing stupid shit? Yeah, sure. All over the place. I mean, but then there's guys out there that are cheating on their wives, and wives out there are cheating on their husbands, and people do stupid shit, and it's usually a minority. It's one time I was listening to the survival podcast with Jack Spirko, and he was talking about the breakdown of Americans that are just fucking nuts. And really, it's a very small percentage. Like if you tried to peel off some of the layers of the civility onion, and how civil we are, it's pretty thin. But then when you look at the numbers, there's maybe out of all of America, there's like a small like percentage point of sociopathic crazy asshats that would just shoot people because they started out drowning kittens when they were little, and they're just fucked in the head. They have no empathy at all. And then of the remaining group, there's a lot of people that are, fairly psychotic and stupid, but they're held in check by rule of law and a fear of prosecution, which is diminishing, which is enlarging the group on the other side that are just fucked up and crazy. I mean, they're also fucked up and crazy, but they're not doing the crazy shit because, well, they don't want to, go to prison. It's really not a great place. It's not like Club Med or Sandals. It's fucked up. So, that percentage, according to Survival Podcast, was, let's just say it was in the, single digit, of the crazies, and then there's a lot of people, probably a double digit percentage of people that, if they weren't worried, they would be crazy. And then there's the rest of us. And I think racism is the same way because, see, I was like one of two white kids in junior high. And then in between 7th and 8th grade, one of my white friends, died. It wasn't even one of my white friends. It was just like I only had a handful of friends anyway. Most of them were, Mexicans. And that's what we called them back then because they were from Mexico. They identified as Mexicans. And a lot of blacks, and we were just, kind of friends. It's fucking junior high. You had friends, but they weren't the people you went home and played around with and, known since 6th grade. I only had a few of those real friends. So this guy dies of some weird ass fucking disease, 7th grade. It's kind of sad on his family now that I think about it. And so I was, I was the token white boy, the wedo, local wedo, they used to call me, crazy white boy, back in high school and junior high, because I was crazy. So, when I would go to a dance, like, the YMCA, maybe 2 miles down the road from my house, on, I think it was Fridays or Saturday nights, they'd have a dance, and we'd all get together, and there was me and all my friends, and I was kind of one of the only white kids. And we just all hung out and had a great fucking time, and then we'd walk home and throw rocks at shit and be typical asshats and break somebody's shit we didn't even know. Because that's what kids do back then in the early 70s, 69, whatever. And so I didn't really see it. Now, I've been in business for 18 years. I've been in floor covering my whole life since those high school years. I did carpet, and so I've met a lot of people in that 40-year expanse of time. And, a lot of them being, I was from Tucson, so a lot of the work I did were, Hispanics, Mexicans, brown people, whatever. They're Mexicans. A lot of blacks, a lot of whites, just people. And I even back then, I'd never noticed that racism that everyone talks about. Racism. We're all fucking racist. According to the magazines, we're all socialists too, which kind of turned out to be true. But, we weren't racist, I think I told this story before, in high school, I was approached by the brothers, the black guys there. And we all, kind of hung out together. And they're like, Mark, yeah, we really like you, brother, but, and we love buying your pot. But you can't go out with Sheila or whatever her name was. And I was like, why? Is something wrong? She's sick? And they're like, no, we just don't want white guys dating, sisters. It's like, oh, okay. That's cool. Whatever. I mean, we're friends. Art class. Get along really great. It's going to go get high. Maybe get lucky. And that was it. That was, it wasn't like a big confrontational thing. It was just like, hey, we'd appreciate it if this. And I was like, no problem. And that was that. Now I knew a lot of Mexican gals, really hot and went out with them. As much as you could go out in high school, it's like a stupid fucking dance or something. Meet up at the Y. So I just never noticed it at that point in my life. And then working and meeting people, and I met, successful people. Now in floor covering, you're not always meeting successful people. I mean, everyone needs some carpet on their fucking floor. So I met like a lot of different economic groups in my years. Just every day, someone else's house. Maybe two people's houses, depending on the size of the job. Hi, I'm Mark. Boom, lay the carpet, leave, get the fuck out of here. And nobody was ever, asshole-ish to me, and I was never asshole-ish to them. You didn't see it. Nobody was like, did you know that you have a job, so that makes you privileged? It's like, yeah, I'm privileged to work my fucking ass off in high school, so I can buy a car this summer and then drive to school. It's like privilege would be like having a fucking chauffeur. That's privilege. See, I just had the privilege of working. I had the privilege of thinking about my future and what I should do to raise my family, and that was just life. But, so yeah, I guess most people in America are privileged enough to work in this slave labor camp we call America, because that's what it is, right? You work your ass off. It's like, if you look it up in the scriptures, I think it's called the layman theory. A guy named Layman, and he always said, well, you work your life for $100, say. Well, you've given up $100 of your time, your life, your wear and tear on your body. Just like if somebody said, hey, drive me somewhere, it's going to take 100 hours, or whatever. That's wear and tear on your truck, whether you look at it that way or not. So it's called the layman principle or theory. And they've got us so locked into this system that we just work and work and work and work and work. And some people are smart enough to maybe fall into a good job, or they're motivated enough to create their own good job. There's no privilege there. It's just you take a chance. That's like saying gamblers that gamble all their money at the table, and sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. That's fucking privilege? No. You get the privilege of putting all their money on the line and maybe losing it. That's a privilege. Pfft. So I've just never seen it with the people I've met. And even one of our customers recently, this is back in Baltimore when all that, not in Baltimore because I live in Arizona, but when Baltimore was happening and the riots there and the very, I guess, the beginnings of Black Lives Matter. And I was talking to this gal, and we were chit-chatting, and we were talking about Black Lives Matter and stuff, and then she kind of laughed. She goes, Mark, you do realize I'm black, right? I was like, really? I didn't notice. Which, in the conversation I hadn't. She's just another human being in my proximity that owned the house that I'm selling flooring to. And I go, well, I said that, the problem with what I see in this new Black Lives Matter movement is it's like you got a lot of allies. Mexicans don't want to be shot by cops. Whitey don't want to get shot by cops. Asians don't want to get shot by cops, and blacks don't want to get shot by cops. So if you don't go out and call it Black Lives Matter and alienate, the other, 70% of your group, your mojo, your momentum, then you'd have a lot of strong allies. And she's like, yeah, but, and she wasn't being a bitch about it or nothing like that. She's just like, here's how they're looking at it. And I was like, well, that's cool. You got your own group. Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, Mexican Lives. I mean, it'd be nice to group it all together and then, really make a statement. But hey, they want to call it the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts or Black Lives Matter or, Oreo Cookie Company, whatever. That's their right. So we were talking, and I said, well, the sad thing is, if they really wanted to solve the problem of cops killing black men of color driving while black, whatever. I go, all those 4,000 pissed off black people in Baltimore, right at the moment that happened, should have just marched down to the sheriff's office and said, hey, we're your constituents. We voted for you. It's a predominantly black area. The county's predominantly black. And a lot of your voters are pissed. Now, politicians always want to get reelected, even sheriffs, okay? So he would have said, well, what's the problem? And then, outside his door are 2,000 fucking voters. You're gonna stop and pay attention and go, what's up? So they could explain it to him. These cops acted out of sorts. They were wrong. We think what they did was wrong. And he might go, well, based on this or based on that, and, try to reason. But if he sees that they're really pissed, he's like, you know what? Rather than me try to explain the nuances of the legal system, which is just a fucking mess in America, I'm going to go down to the police station where those police are. I'm going to detain them, and I'm going to see to it that the chief of police and these officers come into my office and answer some questions. We'll have an investigation. You're all welcome. We'll make it transparent. You can city council meeting or whatever, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. If you can all not start screaming and flipping out, let us talk, then maybe you'll see what's going on. And if you're not happy, go fucking burn the town down. But let's do this. And see, the sheriff could have arrested those cops if they were wrong and tried them. It's the fucking sheriff. And I told this gal that, and she's like, well, I didn't know that. I go, well, that's the problem. Nobody knows it. So what they do is they get the media involved, they get the FBI involved and the feds, and they turn it into a fucking media circus. And all that tells me is they don't want to solve the problem. They just want to raise money. And by the looks of the money that BLM has raised over the many, many, many years, their strategy worked. As a business model, it worked quite well. As far as creating racism in America, well, I don't know. Maybe it was always there. Maybe they got a point. Maybe Mexican Lives Matter would have a point. Fuck, White Lives Matter would have a point. I mean, a lot of people get shot by cops that are white. Statistically speaking, I'm not going to give that number out because then people would think I'm being a racist and I got privilege. But if I'm so fucking privileged, how come a lot of white people get shot by police? Well, because white people are stupid and fucking resist arrest also. White people rob banks. There's white crime and they get shot for that too. Asians, well, they're just quiet, peaceful people, I guess. Just glad to be here. Shut the fuck up. Get a Harvard degree and become a lawyer, damn it. Buy a Quickie Mart. A hotel. I think Asians in California own a lot of hotels. The Quickie Marts are more for the Middle Eastern people, which is totally cool. They're doing jobs I don't want to do. I wouldn't want to run a Quickie Mart. Fuck that, man. So, I've never really seen it in my life through my many 40 years of meeting people in business and work, in school, went to college for years. And I lived in Tucson, which is very ethnically diverse. I mean, Mexicans and whites are pretty much the big slice of the pie. There's black people there. When I went to Utterback Junior High, there were a lot of blacks in that neighborhood. Definitely, got along fine. I mean, it's not that we got along because we were trying. It's just like I hung out with my friends. They hung out with their friends. It wasn't like they were being racist because all the blacks would hang out and they were on the team and all this shit or track or whatever. Fuck, I didn't like sports, so I hung out with the geeky, dumbass people. Nobody sat and said anything. It's like, Mark, if you sat down and really analyze your 7th and 8th grade schooling, you and your white friends never hung out with them Mexicans or them blacks. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? First of all, I was stoned all that time. I don't really remember shit. But I do remember if somebody handed me money, I sold them drugs. Now, I wasn't a big-time drug dealer. I sold pot so I could put gas in my car. And, like I made any money because I'd be fucking rich. It was just something to do, kind of like getting a paper route when you were young and mowing lawns, which I was totally not into doing. So, bought and sold marijuana. And that shit was fucking nasty back then. I'm actually allergic to cannabis, so I can't even be around this stuff anymore. Even the hybrid shit they sell nowadays, I will break out in a rash. If I take a hit, I will just pass the fuck out. I mean, it's dangerously allergic to that shit, which has always really been a blessing when I really think about it. Because, I mean, I quit smoking pot out of high school. It's like, kind of like I quit my fucking day job washing dishes out of high school. It's like, fuck this. And I've never really looked back at it. Don't really care. I drank a lot. That was fun. So, I would love to talk about racism, but I think it's just one of those subjects like talking about the weather. I mean, you could talk about the weather, and if you really want to talk about the weather, you can get into the stratospheres and the cloud types and the barometric pressure and the humidity and, you know, the pressure zones that come together and cause it to rain right there. So there's a lot to talk about in the weather, if anyone fucking cared. And it's the same way with racism. You could sit there and talk about it and come up with all kinds of theories, which are just theories. But the honesty is, I'm with Ben Carson on this one. Because when I'm working on a brain, he goes, I don't see color. It's a brain. There's blood. If I cut the wrong thing, I'll fuck that person up. When I did floor covering in construction, I didn't see color. I saw a customer that was helping me make some fucking money so I could feed my kids and pay my rent one more month. That's what I saw. I didn't sit there and go, well, you should have really took them for a ride. They're fucking Jewish. I hate the Jews. No, they were just fucking people. I knew their name. I talked to them. A lot of times it's like, dude, we went to school together. No, nobody kind of cared. Now, in all honesty, where I see racism isn't among whitey. It's the people of color. You know, we've heard about it since Obama. White this, white that, white. You're oppressing my people, this, that, and the other thing. You know, just like you talk to me about nutrition, I will go on and on and on about it. I guess you talk to some people, they're into racism. But, you know, when I was young, blacks didn't feel special or oppressed or anything. It was just like, hey, Mark, what's up? Got any weed? Mexicans. Hey, man, got any weed, man? Nobody cared. But lately I've seen it more and more coming from people of color. And I guess it's an entitlement thing. They think because they were fucked over so much, according to whatever they were taught, because, I mean, you know, most of these people in Black Lives Matter are younger than I am. And I have I'm 66. Oh, damn, going on 67. Fuck. So we'll take out, 17 years of just being a dumbass kid, really not paying attention to whether it was raining or not. So 50 years of my life's experience, I can sit there and say, I really never knew it. And I can say it even now, looking back at the people I've met in just the last few years. I don't see it. Of course, I live in a small area, small town. I mean, it's rural, I guess. You know, town I live in is 5,000-6,000 people. Sierra Vista, where our business is, there's a ginormous military contingent. And so it's, maybe 30,000-40,000 people. I could drive to Tucson in 20 minutes. So, it's a slice of America, really. Don't see it. Don't see any racism at all. I've had white people get pissed off at me for doing stupid shit. I've had black people go, Mark, what the fuck? I've had Mexicans go, dude, You so pissed me off, man. You took my sister's friend out. I wanted to sleep with that bitch. But it wasn't racism. It was just like, dude, you're hitting on my check kind of fucking problems, or you charged me too much. You know, when I was young, you charged somebody too much. They were like, hey, man, you're trying to fuck me. It's like, what do you mean? They'd explain it to you. Now it's like, what is that, your white privilege, man? You think you could charge twice as much as the next guy? It's like, dude, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I work for another store. They're fucking you. I just showed up. I'm the piano player. Don't shoot me. You know, so I see it, and most people I know in America, and you know, I talk to a lot of black people when I'm out working because I just cannot stop not talking to people when I'm at their house measuring for floor covering. Like, what'd you do? Where'd you go to school? How'd you get here? Why did you fucking move here? Oh, you were in the military? How was that? You know, and we just talk. And I don't see it. You know, they even you know, people of color notice it more prevalent nowadays because the media talks about it 24/7. Our politicians, you know, always on the constant, you know, get reelected merry-go-round. You know, so I guess it goes around. They reach for the golden ring, and I think, what are we yelling about today? Racism, systemic racism. Okay, I'll use that. Systemic racism. They reach out, try to grab that gold ring, and then they get reelected. And then, what are we bitching about this year? This election cycle, global warming, flat earthers, goddamn whiteys, systemic racism. Don't forget to throw that in there either. You know, when I was growing up, it was taxes and Vietnam War. You know, I mean, they all boil down to the same fucking thing. Our government is fucked. And every problem we've ever dealt with is from our fucking government bringing shit up. So we get all worked up, so we vote for them because of the illusionary problem that they have created. This person I'm going to vote for because he has a solution to this problem, maybe, whatever. He invented it. Sure, he can fix it. Fuck it. You know, so I would like to rant and rave about systemic racism and white privilege and supremacy and all that. I mean, America's just a great country. Look at Germany. Yeah, that was white supremacists. That was the neo-Nazis, the superior white fucking race. You go look at that country and it's still predominantly white. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed whitey. They don't let people in. I mean, they have lately because everybody's all got that fucking kumbaya thing. And quite literally, their people have become so spoiled and lazy that they don't want to work, so that they bring in people that are less educated from wherever they're from to do these jobs. But most countries, you look at their demographics, if they're a white nation 100 years ago, they're still a white nation today. All the people of color are fucking tokens as far as they're concerned. And England has, got a lot of blacks in England. Because England, kind of ruled the fucking world. So anyone that wanted to go to England did. They got Asians, they got all kinds of people. But for the most part, you look at America and our demographics. Yeah, are there a lot of white people? Yeah, well, of course. Because there were a lot of them here when it all fucking started. It's like parts per million in the ocean. Is there a lot of salt in there? Yeah. Is salt fucking racist? No, there's just a lot of salt when it started. And until you keep adding parts per million, it's going to be predominantly salty fucking water. So America is predominantly white. But we allow people in with no questions asked. Come in, take a test, swear. Boom, you're American. You can join the military. You can do all this patriotic shit. You can wave your own fucking freak flag if you want. Nobody cares. And so the media and the politicians have to, stir the pot and fuck everything all up to get reelected. So I am not a racist person. I really don't care. I mean, I've met some people that are just so fucking stupid. I don't care what color their skin is. They're just fucking stupid. And a lot of them were white, a lot of them were Mexicans, a lot of them were blacks, a lot of them were Asians. It's just fucking stupid. Doesn't mean I don't like their color or their skin. That never even factored in. If I was racist, then I might factor it in. It's like, well, I'm going to cut him some slack because he's brown. He's had a tough life. He can be stupid and act like that. No, that's racism. I'm not racist. I don't care. You come up to me and treat me nice. You walk up to me at a street corner and go, hey, my car's right there. You got jumper cables? I will look under the seat and see if I brought them this fucking day. I mean, I carry jumper cables pretty much all the time nowadays, but still, yeah, you need a jump. And people are like, why'd you do that? He might rob you or fucking look up where you live or something. It's like, yeah, so? You know, I'd rather he knew where I lived than my fucking politician. Mail me shit all the time. Give me money, give me money, give me money. Did you know that this is an issue in your area? Oh my God, give me money. We're fighting this. This what? This problem we created. It's over there. You see it? Yeah. You really made a mess. Yeah, we need money to fix it. It's like, yeah, but you fucked it up. Yeah, give me money, give me money, give me money. You're a consummate salesman. Fuck politicians. You know, if I'm going to be a supremacist, I'm going to be a patriotic supremacist. Fuck these politicians. All the, elect me, elect me, elect me. All they've done for 200 years is fuck everything up. Fuck it up. And if you study anything besides the Bible, which I guess they say is important, but if you study the Constitution and its meaning like people study the Bible, you would see that the number one problem we have in America is not racism. It's not big tech oligarchs. It's the fucking government. It's our politicians. They fuck things up. Starting with FDR, going, I want popular vote. Okay. I want to elect senators. Okay. Hey, we just fucked the American people. That's all right because I'm a representative and now I don't have to work. I can blame it on the Senate. And the Senate can blame it on the president. And the president's just like the fucking landscaper. If the inside of your house is a mess, it's not the landscaper's fucking fault. It's your fault. You got weeds in the yard. That's his fucking problem. But so if I'm a patriotic supremacist. I only love true patriots. If you're a black patriot, God loves you. I do too. You're a Mexican and you love America like the guys I've met my whole fucking life living right here on the border. Fucking great. Help me fight this fucking politician. And then they get caught up in it, because it's like, well, it's fucking Whitey. He don't like you. Oh, man. Fuck Whitey. We owned this land before he did. No, you really didn't. The fucking Indians did, and your breed wouldn't even exist if the Mexicans hadn't, or if the Indians hadn't fucking banged the Spaniards. So you're a fairly new race of people, And the Indians were here before you, so therefore it was never your land. And then along came England, Spain. I think this part of the country was kind of, France and Spain came and stole this land from the Indians a long fucking time ago. And then, you thought it was yours until we bought it. I mean, we made a good investment as America. We bought every acre in America and we fixed it up. Talk about a great return on investment. Fuck yeah. Oh, fuck, I'm almost late. I was driving the speed limit and everything. Of course, that clock's so fucking full of shit. So if you're a patriot, then be a supremacist. Be a patriotic, America-loving supremacist. And I'm not talking about the federal government or their fucking flag. I'm talking about America and what that means and what it's always meant. Freedom and liberty. If you're that, then I love you, man. And nothing but love for you. So, all right. Looks like I'm almost at my thing I got to do. So, sorry, John. I can't do one on racism and supremacy and privilege because I ain't got any. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
We made too many compromises already. Too many retreats. They invade our space and we fall back.
I'm your huckleberry.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
just my game.